on. They can't do anything when they're here.
I got like an email from Navy Fed saying I was eligible, but I heard from like all your briefs that were not, so I never inquired about it, so I don't know what.
That's interesting, and I
said I wasn't eligible, or I was eligible.
What's that DM's date? Date entered, is that the contract date for contracted cadet, or contract?
Commissioning date.
It's what?
Commissioning date.
Oh, that's the commissioning date. Got it, I thought that might have been a date when they contracted, okay. But that's a great question, I'm gonna have to look into that.
And the only thing, maybe like on their list, they don't have midshipman as a rank, so they put me as something else, so I don't know if that tripped it, or.
Maybe they
what.
thought you got commissioned, because
That
I'm
was
pretty
the
sure.
first time I got that, I didn't get that email
Yeah.
like right when I signed up, it was.
I'd
like,
have to
yeah,
ask,
for
my good friend Ollie works at the Navy Fed, Ollie Donis, he works at the Navy Fed at Great Lakes, I should ask him that question too, because he's pretty smart about that stuff. Anyway, you have choices though, if you're gonna be in the thrift savings plan, and a lot of people, I was just at the 133rd Test and Evaluation Squadron in Fort Dodge, Iowa, day before yesterday, and gave this brief, and people go, they're obviously people that senior military, junior and senior military go, you in the TSP? All the hands go up. And then I ask, I go, what fund are you in? 2040? Life Cycle Fund? Good. He knew. There were people that raised their hand, and I go, what fund are you in? And they went, huh? What fund is that? They don't know. But you need to know. And why do you need to know? Why do you think you need to know what fund you're in?
Make different amount. What's your goal?
Well, first of all, it's your money. You ought to know where your money's going.
They all have different goals.
Absolutely. Look at the, if you go to the individual funds chart, look at that G fund. Has that G fund ever lost money? No. But the most it's ever gotten is what? 9%. That's the G fund. Oh, look at that F fund. That's not bad. I mean, it's dipped a little bit, but it's been up to 19%. Okay. Now, remember I told you that C fund? 38%. Now, don't look here. No, I'm just saying. But look at these interest rates. Now, look what happened in 2008. It lost 13%. Now, sure, if I was Magic Man, I would have said, in 2007, hey, you better get out of the C fund. Not too many people were able to call that one. But the point is, you got to know what fund you're in. And so there's individual fund, and as you said, there's targeted funds. That's called a life cycle fund. And what that does, the life cycle fund, it sort of adjusts its risk based on the year. So he said the 2040 fund, that means that right now, it's pretty risky, but the closer you get to 2040, it's going to taper its risk the closer you get to 2040. So it kind of allocates money on its own. If you're in the individual funds, you kind of need to bounce around from fund to fund. These targeted funds are a good way to sort of, if you're a passive investor, that I say, let the funds manager. Now, we give briefings on the new retirement system. And I got to tell you, if you don't know the new retirement system now, if you came in between 2008 and 2018, if you get commissioned, between those days, they are going to ask you if you would like the old retirement plan or the new retirement plan. If you get commissioned after December 31st, 2018, you will be under the new retirement system. The new retirement system, one of the main components of it is what? Guess what? The thrift savings plan. And one of the things I was going to mention while I do, if all three of you, if you could talk maybe Army Air, we can come back and do a presentation on the new retirement system. It's a whole separate presentation, but that might be a joint service thing. Make it available after hours if people are going to fall in that window. Because it's a good thing to understand, and it's very convoluted. They didn't make it easy. Because right now the retirement plan that I'm under, and most of us are under, it's 20 years, you get 50%. At 38.75 in the story. This new one is way wacko. They've reduced it to 40% at 20, but there's a matching part. So you really need to know that your savings plan if you're going to be in that new retirement system. And when you leave and get out, you got some things to go. Why do you have to think about saving? Look at this figure. That's scary. We had an employee meeting for the company that I work for, and we believe that 44% of the people that we serve in the company I work for are living paycheck to paycheck. 44%. This last one is really the scary one. Or actually that one, 30 to 54, only 80% of the people that do not have enough money for retirement. 80% of the people that are this age right now, me, my peers and younger, 80% don't have enough money for retirement. And of the 25-year-olds that save enough for retirement by 65, only 4% of the people that are 25 right now, they predict are going to save enough to retire at 65. These are just some reasons why I believe that you need to start thinking about putting your money away now. If you start at 22, $100 a month at 10%, 22, 10 years, you've invested 20,000, you've invested 12, but because of compounding, after that 10-year period, that's worth $20,000. Okay? If Smith stops at that point, stops and lets $20,000 earn 10% annually for the next 35 years, at 67, that amount of money has turned into that amount. So that's $100 a month. Smith only invested $12,000. At 67, he has $500,000. Jones, Jeff, lady, starts at 32. I invest $42,000 because I invest $100 a month for 35 years. I only have $379,000. Smith, 12, 500. Jeff, 42. Huh? Remember that rule of 72? What did I miss by waiting? A doubling period, didn't I? Oops. This is why you need to start now. Start at 22 or now. Now is your time to get disciplined. Once you get out into the fleet and you start making some money, you're going to be 22. Start putting it away now. If Smith would have kept that up, that $100, 10%, 45 years is $1 million. That's the compounding. 361, if you start at 20, 20 to 60, $361 a month, you'd have $1 million. That's cool. All right, so saving that, so again, the magic, well, what if you're gonna, what, I got, should I pay off school loans? Should I invest? Should I build an emergency fund? Should I pay off my car? What should I do first? That's a question for you to ask your financial professional. Not me, because every one of that, the answers that you're all going to get are different. How many people are still mooching off, excuse me, did I say mooch? How many people are still relying on mom and dad to pay your insurance? Raise your hands, come on, come on, come on, come on. I am paying insurance for my kids. I want you all to call your parents tonight using a phone, not text, and tell them thank you. Okay, so everyone just do that. Call your parents and say, thank you for covering my insurance. Because when you start paying your own insurance, you're going to be in for a little sticker shock. Yeah. Just a little. These are the things your premium's based off of. Look at that last one, financial responsibility. No credit, bad credit, high insurance. End of story. No credit, bad credit, high insurance. You don't want that. That's why you need to start building your credit now. So when you have to start paying your own insurance, your mom and dad will go, whew. So I'm still paying for 2 of my kids in college, and that's expensive. $600, $700 if you're single for 6 months on a 2014 Honda. $700 every 6 months, a little bit over $100 a month. Now I have Illinois. I should have put the Iowa charts here. Here, who's paying their own insurance? Do you think you know your insurance pretty well? Do you know what your limits of liability are?
Yes.
That's a deductible, but what's your limits of liability? Meaning, how much will your insurance pay in the event something was to happen? Is it 20? there's three numbers here. One is for property damage. One is for injury or death of one person in an accident. So let's say it was your fault and you hurt somebody. And the other one is the maximum amount that your insurance company is going to pay if you hurt more than one person, so per event. So that accident, the minimum for the state of Illinois, I'm sorry, I don't know, Iowa's up here. For Illinois, it's $50,000, that's it. If the medical bills and it's an at-fault accident, the medical bills are $100,000 between all the people that you've hurt, who's paying the other 50? You are. Congratulations. It is important to note that good insurance, meaning higher levels, look at this number, 300,000. Wait a minute, the state of Illinois only requires 50. This is 300. The difference is not that great. The difference in your premium is not that great. Don't do this. Don't get minimum limits of liability, and this is in your book. If you don't know if you're paying your own insurance and you don't know what your liability limits are, please talk to your insurance company and make sure that you're well covered. I carry high limits of liability because I don't want anything to happen. Because I don't want to come out of pocket if I hurt somebody. Again, I was in the intensive care unit for 3 days in Northern Virginia. And my bill, it was covered by insurance, was close to $300,000 for 3 days. So the point is, the cost of medical procedures now, you've got to carry good insurance. And for those of you that are still living off mom and dad, if you called up your mom and dad and said, hey, I was wondering what are our limits of liability, I'm sure your parents might even go, what? What briefing did you just get? Why are you bothering me? No, but for those of us, particularly those of us that are paying our own, please check them, please check them, please check them. Yes, it depends on the kind of car you own. Again, the best car, paid for. Paid for. Okay? But fancy cars are going to cost you more for insurance. And I can't believe some of the cars I see on this campus. A Bentley? The guy looks like he's 12. He's driving around in a Bentley. It was in the Armory parking lot.
Is he Chinese?
I can't say that, sir. Yeah. I'm like, dude. Wow, it's insurance. Do what he said? I don't know. I don't pay. I better call your parents and say thank you. Sadly. And it depends on where you live. This is another thing. Because in the military, you're going to be moving around a lot. Okay? And if your driving record, ticket's going to cost you more. Your quickest ticket out of the military is a DUI. In 1980, they would just kick you in the ass and send you back to work. Tolerance now, 0. Waivers, none.
Preach it, brother.
Do what?
Preach it, brother.
Well, no, I was at SEMO giving this presentation. There was a kid in the back of the class in civilian clothes. And he came up to me after the briefing. He goes, man, that really hit home. I said, why? What's up? He was a senior, had been selected for pilot training, Air Force ROTC cadet, senior, Dewey, gone. Had a pilot slot. And he said, you know what, all I ever want to do is fly. And so he was actually asking me about air traffic control. He was asking me about ATC as a profession. Because he was thinking, and I said, well, why are you still, he had to finish the class though, because he was enrolled in the class, so he had to finish it. He was gone. Waiver? No waiver. No waiver. That's why you have a friend. Taxi. Something. Deductibles. This is where it gets to your question. Everybody, deductibles. I would encourage you to look at that. If you carry high deductibles, you're going to save a lot of money. But guess what? You better have an emergency fund. My daughter got in a wreck in November in her Honda. My daughter, high school senior, her fault. I had to come up with $1,000 to get the car fixed, but I had an emergency fund, right? So I don't want you to carry high deductibles, not have an emergency fund. You got to pay $1,000. Now you're putting a credit card. You're paying that $1,000 on a credit card. That's not good either. Okay. So understand what your deductibles are. Consider carrying higher deductibles. Don't fall into the trap of thinking that lower deductibles are really, really good. Yes?
What is a deductible?
Yeah, so in the example, my daughter crashes her car, it goes to the body shop, and the bill is, it was $6,000, so she'll say $7,000 to fix. The insurance company sends that body shop a check for $6,000, I give them $1,000. Okay? That's a deductible. That's what that means. How much am I gonna have to come out of pocket? And you can see that I love my insurance company, but I do not want to pay them any more money than I have to. Renter's insurance, please, folks. If you are living in an apartment or in some situation other than your folks' house, please get some renter's insurance. And it shouldn't be called renter's insurance, it should be called personal property or personal liability coverage. That's what I wish we'd call it. Because if you're renting and someone comes over to your house, your apartment, and falls down, trips on the rug, falls down, hits their head on your dining room table, doesn't have insurance, has to go to the hospital and get stitches or get their brain fixed. Are they gonna come after you? I would. Because it happened in your apartment. And so the renter's insurance has a liability piece to it that's very, very good. For this amount per month, and this is in San Diego. Anybody have renter's insurance in here? Boy, how much do you pay?
Like $8 a month.
Stop it. I mean, it's very, very inexpensive. And it's very, very, very good to have. Don't think that you're bulletproof. My son thinks that nothing can happen to him. And I gotta get him out of that habit. I gotta get him to stop that thinking. I don't need renter's insurance. Oh, yes, you do. Do I have to get it? Do you want that car that you're driving? Would you like me to take that away from you, old Jimmy John's driver? You want the car? You dead darn right, you gotta have renter's insurance, and you're paying for it. I'm not paying. Get it. It's well worth it. Once you get on active duty, they will ask you about this thing called service life insurance. Do you want life insurance?
Yes.
I am not here to tell you yes or no. I'm simply here to tell you that for $400,000 of coverage in the military, that costs a grand total of about $30 a month. $30 a month. And you're making how much? Come on. Now, you can say, well, I'm not married. I have no responsibilities. Do you have parents? Do all of you have parents? At least I hope so. Something may happen to you. There will be costs associated to take care of your stuff in the event something happened to you. Don't believe that just because you're not married, you don't need life insurance. I have a life insurance policy on my kids that are students. Why? Student loans. If something happens to them, who's responsible for those student loans? I am. So we took out a life insurance policy for $100,000 on the kids. So if something wants to happen to them, I can pay off their anticipated value of their student loans when they graduate. And put your parents down as the beneficiary. Okay? But don't think that you don't need it. And it's so inexpensive. And if you're planning on getting out of the military anytime soon or retiring, as I did, I made a big mistake. I waited until I retired, then I went, ooh, I need to go get some life insurance. That's expensive. When you're fat and 50, try getting insurance, because it depends on you. So get it while you're young, healthy. Don't get it when you're fat and 50. It's expensive. All right, we're the summary slide. That's good. Goals we talked about. Get a goal, get a goal, get a goal. Budget. Avoid credit card debt. Notice I didn't say avoid credit cards. They can be good for building credit. If you pay the bill in full, pay the bill on time and in full. Emergency, 10 to 15% of your gross pay. 10% of that, 300. I say 20. If you took 20%, that's 600. That's, can you live off 2,300? You wouldn't miss it. Try doing that. If you've been in 10 years and I tell you, oh, you got to take a $600 pay cut, you go, ah! You'd scream. I screamed. Because I spent all my money. I was in debt. $50,000, $60,000 in debt. Before I said, oh, does that mean I can't buy that? can't do this, I can't, it's hard. If you do it when you're young, you're not gonna miss it. Forget about it. Review your insurance needs. If you're paying your own insurance or you're anticipating having to pay, be smart about your insurance, because you can build all the wealth you want. And many of your senior folks probably have some wealth that they've built, but if you don't protect that wealth, there's these things called an umbrella policy, not to drill you too down in the ditches, but when I had kids that all of a sudden started to drive, I got an umbrella policy for $1 million, because if my kids go out, something happens and somebody sues me, I'm protected. An umbrella policy is a good policy if you're a senior and have some wealth that you need to protect. Umbrella policies are good too. And if you got some complicated stuff, so you can turn it. Real quickly, I'm gonna tee up the I'm just gonna tee up one slide from this new retirement briefing and tell you why it's important for some people. Came in before January 26th. What you got is what you got. You're done. Good. If you came in between 2006 and 2018, or if you get commission between 2006 and 2018, you are going to be asked if you want the old program or the new one. If you get commissioned after January of 2018, you have no choice. Okay, you got the new one. So if you fall into this window, you need to start doing some reading on the new retirement system that has been signed into law. Okay? And I'd be more than happy to come back as a tri-service effort, and maybe we can put together a briefing and have a good, healthy discussion on the new retirement system. Again, no recommendations would be made, you just put the facts out as they are, because ultimately they're going to have to make a decision. So I'm suggesting that there's some goodness to it. There's some goodness to it, and it has to do, the goodness has to do, particularly if you're not going to be, if you think you might be getting out, say, after 6 or 8 years, or not doing a full 20, because they're going to start matching the TSP. Okay, so that's the primary component, is matching of the TSPs. So you put in 5, they match 4. At least it's better than no match, which is what you have now. So there may be some goodness for people, but primarily if you're in and you're going to do 20, the way I looked at it, and the way most people are coming up with it, I'm going to just stay with the 50%. But for the younger folks, they've got some good options. Okay, so that's just teeing up the new retirement system, and that's why that thrift savings plan, as boring as it was, I don't want to know anything about G-Fund or blah, blah, blah. You need to start knowing it, because it's going to be part of your retirement. And finally this, I'll let you read that real quick. After 30 years in the military, there was always a lot of discussion about leadership. And leadership means a lot of different things to different people, but I think that this quote, by the way, does anybody know who John Quincy Adams was? Anybody history majors in here? He's not alive, I just thought that you know him.
6th president of the United States?
6th? Pretty sure about that? 6th? Anyway, here's the thing, one last word about leadership is, to me, I've met lots of people that were really, that thought they exercised leadership, but it was more organizational skills, meaning, hey, I need you to go do this, hey, I need you to go do this, hey, we're having an event, I need you to get the flags, and I need you to get the flagpoles, and I need you to do this and do that, and then, whew, I'm done, there's leadership. No. The people that I believe exercised the best leadership was people that inspired me to do good things. Leadership in a combat situation is a very different discussion. But leadership in general is about inspiring other people. And if you are a freshman or a sophomore and you don't think that you can inspire people, I challenge you on that. You have every opportunity to inspire your friends, to inspire your peers, to take care of them. But really think about inspiring people to do good things. When you help people that are having trouble with their grades, having trouble with binge drinking, having relationship troubles, and you inspire them to do better, you're inspiring somebody, and that's leadership. And you can take that to the bank, and you can take that throughout your entire military career. And when you can inspire people, the finest officer I ever knew never made it past the rank of 05. But boy, he was inspiring. That's all he cared about. He didn't care about his particular promotions. He was fine where he was at. He was very financially secure. So he inspired all of us to do really great and wonderful things. So I encourage you to think about inspiring people, don't look at what's in it for you. You should accept a leadership position on what you're going to do for other people. Okay? So that's my 2 cents worth. And the finance question was asked in the back, so you get to fear the pig.
I'm gonna have to relinquish that to Ms. Zilmer because he
Okay.
is indeed correct. John Quincy Adams is the 6th president.
Bingo! All right, so there you go. So don't forget your pig up here, okay?
Yes, sir.
And remember, there's 4 categories on here: save, spend, donate, and invest. And so there's actually a message behind these. I mean, those are some things that, whether you're 5, 15, or 20, you should always think about saving, spending, donating your time or your money, and investing. And they all come out on each foot. All right. There are some books up here if you want to grab the IRAs, managing credit and debt, or investing. They're just books, but these are free. They're PDFs as well. Thank you very, 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 very much. If anybody didn't get one of these Command Your Cash books, I have some out in the car. I can run down and give it to you if my car's not. So.
Or my emergency fund.
Emergency fund, that's right. 250, is that on the?
Like a part joke.
Anybody need a book?
Yeah, I'll take one,
So
sir.
like,
Okay.
I'm gone like 5 p.m. So like
Here you go.
I'm even more like this.
Sir, you don't have